can't believe this fucking cunt. Like, trying to, like it's somehow equivalent, the amount of women that have died, comparing it to the amount of men that have died in war from the beginning of time. Like, are you fucking serious right now?
I mean, she is a gynocentric hate-mongering
even by
bigot.
her own logic, if men's nature is warlike, then what the fuck? Like, I don't even see where she gets her fucking... It's like, wouldn't warlike men fight other men? Like, what would be the point? It's not like there's ever any fucking... Oh my god.
Yeah, I know. And these are the people who are taken seriously. But I told my mom, it's like, you know, when women were burning their bras back in the 70s, nobody took them seriously. And women and feminists were the laughing stock of society for a while until in the 1980s and especially the 1990s. They struck a gold mine of using fear. Well, just like in the documentary, The Power of Nightmares. You know, when anybody tries to focus on grand visions of wonderful whatever, and then it's not being delivered, you know, people have a falling out and lose interest, and so then the leaders have nothing left other than nightmares. And then that's how, you know, the war on terror, and, you know, even that one minister of, I'm not saying he was a minister of defense, but he was like a cabinet member or whatever in the British government. And he said, you know, and he says, well, I think we've actually projected, you know, that there, you know, more terrorism than what we discovered to really happen and all that. You know, that they were being overly cautious and may have gone a little bit too far in their estimation of how much terror occurs. You know what I'm saying? You remember the documentary, right?
Yeah.
I can't.
But so anyway, but that's what these feminists got. I mean, look at it. I mean, okay, by the logic, according to the logic of feminists and radical feminists, and a variety of aptitudes within feminist movements and stuff, they claim that the reason why men want access to children in terms of babysitting or custody or whatever is so that men can rape the living shit out of the children, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Why do they bring that up while at the same time women fight the most or try the hardest to get access to children? I mean, because a lot of men just throw their hands up and give up because they don't want to be you know, suspected, or they don't want to go to prison, or whatever. They don't even want to take the risk of being around kids. Now, I mean, and men really do have deep down compassion for children and care for them and provide and all this other kind of stuff.
I remember what video, maybe it was Man Woman. I remember one video or whatever, it's talking about how nowadays men you can't even like talk to a child, you know, because
Angry Harry was talking about that.
Yeah,
that was
that's
on
what
the
it is.
Man Woman Myth documentary series.
It's like you can't even talk. It's so much of a risk to you to even communicate with
or
them.
associate with them.
Because if anyone sees you talking to, I mean, even if their parents right there, if you were just you know, you can't speak to like the kid because it automatically brings up suspicion. Well, he must be a child molester. He must be some fucked up rapist. It's like how fucking sad that we've come to the point where you can't even socialize with a child. Like it's like it's just sad.
Well, and you know, when I bring up all this man hatred stuff and people say, well, I don't see what you're talking about. Well, you know, I've never noticed that. I mean, it must not be true and all that. It's like, okay, then why is it on a bus, a plane, or a train, a child is not allowed to sit unaccompanied near a man? I mean, you've heard of
like
that policy, right?
Yeah, or like the guy that went into the children's book section at whatever bookstore that was. I don't remember specifically the bookstore, but he went in and was looking for a fucking gift for like his grandson or something in the children's book section, and he got kicked out or whatever. Remember that?
Tell me more about it.
It's on one of the fucking videos with I don't know. Anyway, it just a guy went into a bookstore like Barnes & Noble or whatever. Went into a bookstore. He was in the children's section, shopping for a gift for like a fucking, you know, someone in his family, a grandson or granddaughter, something or other. and they asked him to please leave because he, they thought he was like a pedophile or something. Like, what the fuck?
I mean, there is so much prejudice against men, and society is on the verge of apartheid. I mean, it actually, like people say, about a century ago, in the early 1900s, the attitudes that society had toward blacks eventually led to it being written into law in parts of Africa and South Africa, especially South Africa, because movies are made about it, like Lethal Weapon 2, and how South Africa was being shamed internationally for its apartheid. And anyway, and you can still see on the internet pictures of all those signs around. Like, I've seen a picture of a sign for like a beach, and it had a sign that said "whites only."
You know what? I wish they would do that here. It's just like, I mean, they already pretty much have, but for women, like, women only. It's like, you know what? Go ahead, label everything so I know what I can and can't fucking do. Because
exactly.
Then I won't go to fucking jail.
And the segregation between men and women and the apartheid has already begun. It's just a kind of a soft and subtle method. That's why you see these fitness centers called curves for women. I mean, we got like 2 or 3 of them right here in this town. We had what was it?
There's one by the smoke shop.
Yeah, and that's by the oil change place. Yeah, it's in that area. And then the other one was, wasn't it by Napa, the auto parts store?
Downtown?
No.
Where it's at now?
Yeah, where Napa is now.
Yeah, I think there's one back in that area.
But there's at least 2, and it says right there on the side, the name of the business is called Curves, and it says also on the sign, for women. And I read an article about it that, like, almost all Curves fitness centers are exclusively for women only, and only a few throughout the whole country allow men to come in. So only a few of them, a small percentage of the Curves fitness centers are co-ed, and the majority of them, more than 3/4 of them, are women only. And then you see all these women only safe spaces and all this other stuff. And the apartheid has already begun. And if men and women, and if society tolerates it, it's only going to get worse. And men go along with it because they think that if they cooperate, then they won't be treated any worse.
Once they give them an inch, they'll take a mile. Because as soon as they realize, well, we told him if he did this, it'd be all fine, great, and then it's like they do it. Well, now we need him to do this.
And women intimidate men so much.
It's like asking a man. It's like, can you fix the sink? He fixes the sink. Will you fix the creaky door? Fixes it. Well, can you climb up and like clean out the gutters? Like, if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. You do something for them, okay, well, the Poop Mouth wants to be able to have her women's only fitness club to feel safe. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and do that. It's not a big deal. And then the next thing you know, it'll be like, women only grocery store, or going back to the old days, women and men only, like, just everything, like women only fucking schools. There already are those, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's eventually going to go into every facet of life. I mean, it's like we have men and women bathrooms, obviously. Eventually, it's just going to be everything you can imagine.
And for those people who doubt that it will happen, I mean, look, 50 years ago in the 1960s, there was still segregation and apartheid, I guess you could say. In this country, there was water fountains for white people only. And, I mean, I used to hear these stories from back in the 1960s on past, on back further in time, how the really good quality water fountains or bathrooms or businesses were for white people, and then their nasty rundown stuff was for blacks. Well, just right over here, about what, a mile, maybe about a mile or so.
Leora Brown?
Well, the Leora Brown School is that way. It was for blacks, African Americans, and then, but over south, about a mile, maybe 2 miles at the most. Oh gosh, was it Beachmont Hill or whatever? And it's, well, you know where that's at, right? Up by the school.
What is it?
Yeah, beach. You know that hospital hill up there. That
yeah,
area.
but what are you talking?
Back where, that's where all the blacks had to live back in the 1940s and the 1950s.
Oh, okay.
And the houses were all run down and small. I mean, there's not a whole lot of the houses that are left up there.
I know what area you're talking about.
But people called it, the N-word hill.
Yeah, they still call it that.
Yeah. And this is 2012, like 50 years around, after, like, well, about 45 years after segregation ended.
Yeah, and it still calls it this because it's backwards ass fucking town.
Well, it's a lot of other places that are like that.
I know, but you can't say this isn't a shithole redneck fucking town.
Well, it's not just rednecks, it's American picker wannabes and all kind of stuff.
Normal people.
Yeah, basically. And oh gosh, a bunch of poop mounds and gynocentric hate-mongering bigots. And this is not even a city. I mean, it's a town of like 5,000 or whatever. Well, it's grown since the last, since the previous census.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have no idea the population. There's not that many though.
Well, I heard from the 1990 census, I think there's like 3,000 or 4,000, but like it's grown a whole bunch. Well, in the 2000 census, and then now, just 2 years ago, the 2010 census. But according to the 1990 census, New Middletown had like 114 people living there, or was it 104 people? It's just a little bit over 100 people. But I'm not even sure that many people live there now, because like there's less businesses there. There's just like less stuff, and like everything's being centralized into this town. Well, and not just this town, but a certain part of this town. Like the downtown part is suffering, and the uptown place up on the hill is where a bunch of the businesses are, and that's where a bunch of businesses moved to. I mean, Pizza Hut moved like a couple miles up the road. Well, it was never in downtown, but it was, closer to town. And all that, and, yeah, dude, just come check us out.
But they don't. Go figure. Thirdly, almost every violent war in history was the direct result of men and the patriarchy. Men have led people to battle for absolutely no reason and have caused millions of deaths because of their nature. I'd also like to note that you made a point about circumcision being mutilation in your video, but anyone with sense knows it is done for hygienic purposes. The same necessity doesn't apply to females, which is why women aren't circumcised. And while testosterone may not directly lead to violent behavior, it does lead to a higher muscle mass, which in turn allows men to be more dominant, which then allows them to be more violent. Men also live shorter lives.
Pause this fucking shit. Like, are you seriously gonna... Man, it's unfair. Biology's unfair. So if you want testosterone, go get some fucking testosterone shots, you goddamn cunt. This fucking smug ass is... Are you fucking serious? Like, literally, she's gonna argue and complain that fucking biology isn't fair. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, what? Oh my god. And then the fucking... What was it?
I mean, she just spews a lot more of the classic feminist propaganda, bullshit, hate-mongering.
Exactly. And what was it she said right before that pissed me out? This is a whole fucking... Oh yeah, that. It's like, we don't get circumcised because we don't have penises. It's like, oh, but you don't agree with vaginal, mutilation that certain, like, certain tribes in, like...
Africa.
Yeah. But you're all like, you hear that and we gotta stop that's so bad and evil. No.
Well, see, she says that circumcision is about hygiene. Well, like,
real quick, let me interject. You know, the reason why I think what I remember hearing, don't quote me on this, but I think what I hear is in the tribes where they practice the genital mutilation of women, it's to take away the woman from feeling sexual desire, like sexual pleasure or whatever, something like that. Like they mess with her. That's exactly what they do to men. That's what I heard. It's the same thing. That's why they cut it off, is because, you know.
But let's say even if the hygiene aspect was true, it could still be compensated for. You could still find a way to wash your penis and effectively clean it.
Exactly. But didn't you? I think you told me that that's what circumcision was for. Was to keep a man from experiencing as much
It reduces the amount of sexual sensitivity. And look, it's done involuntarily to male children, like my kid. My kid was 2 days old when he was circumcised, and I didn't know anything about circumcision. And they asked if it was okay to circumcise a child, and then we agreed, and we said, yeah, that's fine. We allowed it to happen. And yeah, I had to hear my kid scream. I mean, he's 2 days old, and he's screaming, and it's a painful cut, and I forget how long. Oh gosh, I feel bad for allowing it to happen.
If you knew that back then, you probably wouldn't have let it go on.
And that was
and
almost
probably,
a year and a half
and
ago.
the sad thing is probably even if you're like, no, I don't want it to be circumcised, Megan would be like, why not? Our doctor says it'll keep them clean. And honestly, she'd probably bring it like, well, why not? Why should we get circumcised? And the doctor would be like, well, remember, probably some bullshit indoctrination like, well, it's keep the penis clean.
Well, think about this.
Men don't clean themselves. They're disgusting brutes.
And you're denying the child of its right to choose. And then which feminists would say, well, it's fine because it can't think for itself, therefore you have to make decisions.
Oh, then...
Well, women apparently can't think for themselves, and that's why evil men make decisions for women and men. But anyway, another thing is, the pain, the horrifying pain that child feels 2 days after it's born. Okay.
It's already bad enough that it has to, it's natural, but it has to come out of its home. It's used to living there, comes out in this fucking cold and, bright world, doesn't know, it doesn't know anything, and the first thing you give it is the fucking
cut.
Dose of pain. Like, well, they don't know what pain is. Obviously they do.
Because they scream.
Yeah, it's a natural, it's like on that fucking, it's like, even in the womb when there's still a fucking fetus, like on that video of the silent scream, that fucking baby knows fear and, probably pain to a certain
extent. Fear is one of the...
that fucking tool comes in and starts trying to suck its, literally rip its limbs off and destroy its body.
And fear is one of the...
It runs from it. It tries to get away from it. Even at that age, it has that instinct to survive.
Exactly, and fear is one of the earliest developmental emotions that any living organism has.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to call it the survival instinct, whatever. But the fact remains, fear is one of the earliest developmental emotions.
And it's more of a double standard because it's like, well, they don't know any better. I mean, they don't even know it. They'll justify, well, you can cut the baby with a fucking knife and cut a piece of it off and throw it away because, it doesn't know any better and it's not really, it doesn't know, it's not really a human yet. But yet, whenever it comes to abortion, it's like, oh, abortion's okay. And then some of them, well, it's not okay because that's a human life as soon as the cum bubble forms inside me. It's
I think of it from the pain aspect. Okay.
I know, but I was saying, the point you made earlier, you said that, they justify cutting off a fucking piece of
they will do whatever it takes to get people sympathetic to their viewpoint. But see, look at the pain that the child goes through at only 2 days old. Because on the second day after my kid was born, that's when the circumcision, because we went home on the third day, anyway, and we took the baby home with us on the third day. But this baby's only 2 days old, and it feels this intense pain. and then supposedly it's okay for it to feel the pain and all that because it doesn't know any better and it won't remember. What about, let's say, hypothetically, if you get pissed off that your child is crying and all that, even after you've fed it, does that mean it's okay to bust the kid upside the head and smack it until it shuts up? No, that's not okay. But, you see what I'm saying? Like the Amazing Atheist says, either this is not okay, or the other is okay. But we're not going to have this double standard. Okay, we only got a few more minutes left on the camera, so we'll watch this.
Directly lead to violent behavior. It does lead to a higher muscle mass, which in turn allows men to be more dominant, which then allows them to be more violent. Men also live shorter lives and experience many health problems later in life due to testosterone. That's a proven fact.
Oh, okay. So it's testosterone's fall off and die early. Not the fact that they have to work their whole fucking life to support cunts like you because you won't do anything for yourself. Oh my fucking god.
Femitheism is not about hurting people or hating men. I don't...
Really?
Oh,
that's all she talks about.
It's not about hurting them or hate. It's just about wiping out more than 90% of the population. Like, how is it not about hurting people? You're hurting people. You're getting rid of them. What are you gonna, are you so fucking all-seeing and powerful that you just have the power to, well, here's a new planet for you men. Just, you can go here and have this planet yourself. Like, how is she gonna get rid of them? Without hurting them. And if you don't hate them, then why are you getting rid of them?
No, you know what? She does hate them. You know why?
I know, because she's a fucking... Oh,
because if we, men, were to talk about women the same way she talks about men, we would guaranteed be labeled as haters. And see, she doesn't want that label because she doesn't want to be opposed.
Oh, go ahead and play it. I gotta show you some stuff on my phone.
Hate men. In fact,
this should be good.
Allows men to be more dominant, which then allows them to be more violent. Men also live shorter lives and experience many health problems later in life due to testosterone.
Just like, apparently, if a man has the ability to be more dominant, he's going to take it. Just like if he has the opportunity to rape someone, he's going to take it. I mean, it's like, well, man, I can rape this chick, get away with it.
But what she's saying is, a dominant person is going to be more violent and hostile. Well, what about when women are dominant?
Exactly.
Are they going to be benevolent and wonderful? No, they're going to be dominant because, or they're going to be hostile because that's what dominant people do. Sure. Right? According to what she just,
I gotta make sure. I think I have 2 pictures on it. No, I have 3. One of them I won't be able to really. I'll have to show that one on the computer. But yeah, you can look at this one right here. Here's that list. We'll get to look at it later. It's tough being a woman in another woman's shadow, which basically, if there's a woman who's, the way I interpret this, it's tough being a woman if you're not, the big hot woman,
I guess.
It's tough being a woman when beauty is a treatment. It's tough being a woman in a mean world. It's tough being a woman throwing a giant-sized weight. It's tough being a woman in a tight fist of fear. And then I saw this and I just took a picture of it. It's like not too big. It's just more examples of how common. It's on the front of the magazine.
Girl power. Diane
von Furstenberg interviews Gwyneth Paltrow.
Oh my gosh, check this out.
That's a proven fact. Once again, Femitheism is not about hurting people or hating men. I don't hate men. In fact, I don't hate anyone. As I've said before, it is unfortunate that men are the way they are, and I sympathize with their misfortune sometimes. But the fact of the matter is, nothing can be done to change their nature or reverse it. My solutions are the only logical way to achieve true equality. I'm aligning myself with the least offensive and dangerous side, the women. My worldview is not skewed, and my ambitions are not unrealistic. I was given the purpose of reforming the world, and I'm the only one who can do it. I don't understand why everyone can't see what I see now, but I know that in time, if I believe in it for long enough and truly put it forward, people will come around and realize the undeniable truth. The world cannot go on this way. This movement is about correcting that issue. Many have already come around, and many more will. And on a final note, I never deleted your comments. You deleted them and then blamed them on me. me. I allow heinous things to be said to me all the time on the comment section of YouTube and my blog, so there's no reason at all why I would have ever randomly removed your comments. You are a fucktard. Anyway, stay tuned
How
for
mature?
future videos, and be aware, Barbie wins.
Fuck you, bitch.
What a fucking... I like her thing. Well, if I believe it long enough, it will just happen. Like
I was given the
Yeah.
job of reforming the world because only I can do it.
Literally, she sounds like some fucking crazy cultist. Like, she's over shit, you know, like, and someone gave her the job of doing it. Like, who did? Who? Was it some voice that said, "You're gonna be the one that saves the world"? Like, what the fuck? What is she even... God damn. Well, I don't hate anybody. Really? Okay. And I like the whole, what was it? That, you know, well, I sympathize with how unfortunate men are. It's like, yeah, you know, the only reason we're unfortunate is because of poop Mallory. It's like, that, I mean, honestly, what I consider to be unfortunate is these fucking man-giant white knights. They're unfortunate because they live in some, like, dream world existence. I mean, that's the only unfortunate thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, it just, oh my gosh. I mean, she does sound like a strange, bizarre cult leader, and she's definitely got dark triads.
Honestly, you know what I think she's doing because of her just the way her age is, in a way, and the way she acts like she's all attention, you know, Barbie wins, meh. I think what she's doing, I think she just knows if she says this shit, she's gonna get noticed. Like, if she knows if she says this much hate, people are gonna be outraged. And then she's gonna get.
That's why she says you cannot stop her. She might as well just shut up.
And she'll get noticed, and then eventually, if she causes enough of a fucking controversy, it'll be like, well, today on our show we have this poop out, and then she gets, you know, like, and then she'll get the recognition she needs
and a following, and she'll feel validated.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think she's fucking doing. Because, I mean...
And she's definitely an attention whore.
Yeah, I mean, she tries to make up the whole femitheism, like she's making up some new fucking philosophy that women should live by.
Alright.
What a fucking beak-hater.
She does. She hates Beak with all her heart and soul. But, I guess this is going to conclude the video series that we just recorded about Femitheism and that gynocentric hate-mongering bigot. Until next time, I'm Manslave, and this is for the Validation Warfare YouTube channel. So enjoy.